Welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 141. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This week, I got TJ, Tony, and Rob in the house. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Ryan.
What's up?
Awesome.
Not much. It's going to be a fun show. I got an actual gun review. It's been a while since I actually reviewed something that went boom. So let's all have a round of applause and thank Chad for not coming on the show, so I could get some of the spotlight this time. Yay!
What's up? Yay!
Yeah, his sister was visiting, so that was his excuse. He couldn't pry her away. I offered to have her come on the show, but yeah, he wasn't into that.
So Chad took my place of not showing up, and you took Chad's place of reviewing stuff.
Yeah, we're switching roles. It's role playing.
Nice.
So what did everyone do in guns this last week? Starting with Rob?
Not a whole. I just took a few of my guns to the range. We got a nice little indoor range right around the corner from the apartment, so just did some nice little making holes in paper and polluting the environment.
Right on.
Amen.
What about you, Tony?
Same thing. I decided to do some gun yoga. Instead of doing anything tactical, left hand reloads, all that stuff, I just decided to relax, throw down my range bag, and shoot my SKS and my AR to shoot tiny groups. And actually, the SKS, I shot that better than my AR.
Nice.
Yeah, Tony. For anybody that's not aware, which is everybody but us, we're now calling Tony Simonoff since he likes his SKS so much.
Yeah, let's see if that catches on.
Let's see. Did I do anything in guns? I know I went shopping for guns, looked around at some. My buddy's looking for a SIG P938. So I usually go into shops and I'll take pictures and send them and say, hey, come on into this place that's got one. Which is ironic that I mentioned that because I'm going to be reviewing the SIG P938 Scorpion on this episode. So stay tuned for that. This is like my favorite EDC gun right here. So that's pretty much what I've done in guns. Taking care of my dad. He had his hip replaced, so I think, I haven't shot anything over there. Oh, maybe some 22 in the backyard.
So I saw you got your stitches out.
Yeah, I had my stitches taken out. I know Sean from Black Bag Resources was kind of giving me a hard time for going back to the having someone professional take them out. But it was 30 stitches, and I can't bend over
30.
that long. Yeah, it was 30. So it was just a little bit above what I would have done on my own had I had enough bourbon to take this thing out. Oh, come on. You'd do the same thing. Don't give me that.
No, I wouldn't. I'd take a freaking Bowie knife and just cut them right out.
Yeah. Well, after I went and had paid, my bill for the emergency room is going to be pretty high. I didn't want to throw all that money out the window by screwing up the removal of the stitches. So it's an investment. Remember, it's my scar. It's not an FN scar. It's just a regular scar.
Mm-hmm.
Just
It's going to cost
reopen.
about the same.
Darn.
Yeah. So what's up?
That's what I hate about medical bills. You're like, darn it, could have spent that on a new gun.
I know. Tell me about it. That's exactly what's been going through my mind for the last couple of weeks. So the announcements, bandwidth sponsor for this podcast is brought to you by Patriot Patch Co. New things we got going on with Patriot Patch Co. We got cleaning mats. So we got the AK-47 cleaning mat, and we have the AR-15 M4 cleaning mat available on the website for pre-order. Those are $25. We've also just added a partner to our partner page, and it's Justin Opinion, and he's a YouTube reviewer, kind of up-and-comer. I know we saw him in Pennsylvania for that machine gun shoot. I've done his logo since then, and then we went ahead and made a patch and some stickers out of his logo. So if you're a fan, or if you haven't heard of him, head over to YouTube, check out Justin Opinion. He's got lots of gun reviews, and if you want to support him, go ahead and order his patch through Patriot Patch Co.
Yeah, great guy, great videos.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check him out. I actually haven't seen him before, but I know I heard I think We Like Shooting mention him the other day, and somebody posted something about him the other day, so I need to check him out.
Yeah. You can tell he's a big fan of Hickok 45. Just the kind of the style of the review, and he's even done a parody video pretending like he was Hickok. Pretty funny, but it's got some enough uniqueness to it where it's definitely worth subscribing.
Nice.
Oh, it's definitely him. I mean, you know what I mean? It's definitely his channel, even though you can pick up different things from him. But he's a big fan of gun channels on YouTube also, just like we are.
Yeah. And the other thing we got going on is we've got new beer patches available. So we've got a Summer Brew 3-pack that's got Deer Slayer, Tack Driver, and Hand Cannon, the newest patches that we've done that parody famous domestic American beer designs. So make sure you check that out. 3-pack is $29.87. That's a pretty good deal for 3 PVC patches.
Yeah, I think they're what? Normally I'll charge $12, $13 a piece.
Yeah, usually they're about $12.87 a piece.
Pretty significant discount.
Yep. And the short barreled rifle and the pistola patches are now in stock. Those will no longer pre-order, so those pre-orders should be fulfilling as we speak, and they are available for direct order. You don't have to wait for the pre-order on those. So that's what's going on with Patriot Patch Co. Comment on the Firearms Insider reviews or the current show notes for a chance to win Patriot Patch swag. So those 2 holsters that I was giving away, the awesome Patriot Concealment Annihilation holsters, those have been shipped out. So thank you guys for participating in that giveaway and leaving a comment on that review. And so I still need to get a hold of the people that didn't win the holsters, but they still bothered to comment on the review. I need to send them some patches and some stickers. So if you remember doing that on the website, if you send me your username and your address so I can send you some Patriot Patch stuff, that'd be awesome. But I need to specify that more with giveaways, is I don't want to have to chase you down and get your address because I can't exactly send it to you.
If you have to work too hard, you just don't get anything, huh?
Yeah, right. So we're going to move on to the main part of the show, the product spotlight. First up, we got a big bore AR-15, and I say that loosely because it's definitely not your dad's AR-15. This is the CMMG MKW Anvil chambered in 458 SOCOM. They call this thing the Anvil because I guess it breaks the hammer. It hits like a hammer, but it's not. It's the Anvil. They have this in 3 different offerings. Basically changing out the stock. From what I can tell, we'll have to go into the details of what makes these all different. But starting at
I read through the details a minute ago. So the base model has like their standard M4 stock and A2 grip, and then the second highest they add Magpul furniture, so Magpul grip and a Magpul stock, and then
CTR.
the third, was it the CTR?
Yep.
Okay. And
don't argue with him. He knows what it is.
He knows the Magpul. I always get the 3-letter confused. But anyways, and then the third one up has a Geisley trigger.
Oh, nice.
And the Magpul furniture.
So the cheapest one that's got just the A2 furniture is MSRP $1,850, and the next one up with the Magpul furniture is $1,950. So basically an extra $100. And the one with the Geisley trigger and all the Magpul stuff is $2,150. And then those are, of course, the suggested prices on their website. You might find them cheaper on the street. So what makes this kind of unique to the standard AR-15? Well, it doesn't use just any lower. What they've done is they've kind of made a bulkier lower. It's got a 308 sized mag well on the outside, but it's just got thick walls, so it can accept a standard AR-15 size magazine. Because if you're not already aware, the 458 SOCOM is the same length as a 5.56, and it's designed to fit in the same 5.56 magazines. But they did add quite a bit of bulk to the wall of the magwell for some sort of reason, for supporting under recoil and the pressure. TJ and I were just talking about it earlier, thinking, well, how much pressure does the magwell really have to take?
None.
Yeah, so I think really maybe what that is this is the same kind of concept as their Mutant that came out, 2-3 years ago, which was basically the way they explained it was they took a 308 AR and shortened it down to like a standard AR-15 length to get the 7.62 to where you have a beefier bolt to where it's not you're not breaking bolts because they're having to make it bigger than the 223 to fit the 7.62. So they made the bolt bigger and everything. So I think maybe the reason for this is it's probably the similar concept, and the upper is just beefier. So they probably just kind of wanted to make it flow a little better. I don't know that might be the reasoning for the thicker mag well, because like Tony said, I don't know how much force you're really going to put on the mag well.
Well, what happened is I looked at it, I read it, I watched everyone's review on it, and everyone was pushing this whole thing about how much strength you need and how, the 458, your 458 SOCOM beats up ARs. So I went to Google it, like, where is this a real problem? Because I've been reading about these, dream wishing them for a while. I have not found one problem with an AR and the powerful 458 SOCOM beating them to death in any way whatsoever. The only thing that, not any way, the only thing I ever found was some of the brass dinged up the ejection port. That's all I've ever found. So this extra strength and all the things they're saying, I mean, it might be true, but I'm not finding it. I feel one of the strengths of the 458 SOCOM is the fact that you can just pop it on your regular AR-15 lower.
Yeah.
They took that away. So now it's like, well, great, it's an entirely different rifle. It's not even a full-size AR-10 lower. It's a cut-down AR-10 lower. So I can't pop it on the AR-10 lower. You know what I mean? I mean the upper. I can't pop that on the...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like they made something up that's all proprietary, and then they're telling you there's a need for it. And I'm like, not really, but hey, more power to you.
Yeah, it is a very proprietary.
Now, Tony, are you saying a manufacturer would try to create a need where none exists?
I'm like, why did you go through all the extra expense when you're just, I'd be happy with just building another 458. I mean, I've shot them. They're not as bad as people say they are. Because some people try to play it off as there's a lot of recoil, and I really don't think so.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're maybe kind of releasing this platform as a jumping off for maybe they'll release some different rounds, some different calibers, but I don't know really much that would benefit from it. Maybe a 50 Beowulf or something like that, but I think the Beowulf's already designed to work pretty well with the 223 rim. Doesn't it have a 223 rim?
All of them. All of them are. That's what gets me. It's the 50 Beowulf and it's the 450 Bushmaster. I mean, those are the big ones on the AR, the AR family. And they all designed to work with an AR-15.
Yeah, they all have slightly rebated rims to where it's not like the 7.62 by 39 where it has such a huge difference where you have to the walls of the bolt end up being so thin, because that's the problem with the 7.62 by 39 is the rim's just so big that they weaken the bolt so much by drilling it out more. But with all these, they're significantly rebated to where they're not as small as the 5.56 rim, but pretty close.
Pretty close. I mean, you can use the same bolt. All of
50 Beowulf might actually be the same as the 5.56 rim, but I'm looking at a side by side right here. But the 458 is definitely a little larger.
Yeah.
And the 450 Bushmaster I think, looks like the same. Actually, I think the 458 SOCOM and 450 Bushmaster might have the same rim.
Yeah, the 458, it seems to be tapered or something. I was looking for different articles because I've never really compared the three rounds, the three big bore rounds out of an AR. But man, do they all seem like something I want to go hunting with. I really do. Even this thing, even though it cost a boatload of money, they're just really cool. But why is everybody still pushing this key mod? Is key mod dead or what?
I didn't even think about that. You're right. It's got key mod on the. Comes with a railed forend, which is good, rather than just having like the standard,
A2.
M4 style forend. But it is key mod. It's got like a 12-inch, no, at least probably like a 14-inch handguard, so it covers most of the barrel.
Yeah.
But it is key mod, which is kind of interesting.
It is their handguard, and looking through their website, all their handguards seem to be key mod. So they want to put somebody else's handguard on it if they make their own.
Of course not.
That's just
So
they just haven't made anything M-Lock yet.
Yeah, because MLOC is not licensed. I mean, it's open source.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to pay anybody. Just do it.
So it seems like the rifle does come. I do like that it actually comes with the magazine, because for whatever reason, a lot of times rifles don't come with magazines. As far as ARs, I mean, some people think it's okay to send guns without sights and magazines. Well, CMMG, I guess, split the difference and still doesn't have any sights, but it comes with a magazine at least, which is a.
I think the difference with them is this: because it uses 458 SOCOM, it's pretty much every state legal because it only holds 10. You know what I mean? Where I live in Jersey, if you go ahead and ship something with a 30-round magazine, that's a 5.56. My FFL keeps it. Like, you don't get it.
Yeah, it's actually called, like, I mean, they actually specify that it's a CMMG modified Lancer L5 AWM magazine, and that magazine carries CMMG's quality guarantee, I think is what they're saying. So I don't know exactly what modifications need to be done for the 458. I always thought you could just cram them in the same magazine, or at least with the 50 Beowulf you can.
Well, sometimes you have to bend the feed lips a little bit.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's what it is. They've just modified them a little bit.
Sometimes with the plastic ones, because it's fatter. This is what I've read, because I've only shot it a few times. I didn't have a problem with feeding it, and I didn't have problems with the mags. They said sometimes with the polymer, they stretch the lips out too far and the rounds won't stay in. Don't know.
Well, the Lancers have steel feed lips, I think. It's probably why they use those. Probably easier to modify. It also comes with an SLR adjustable gas block to allow tailoring your rifle to the round you choose to unleash. And I guess that's kind of one of those things with the larger bores. You have such a range. I don't know the range on 458 SOCOM, but you have such a wide range on a lot of the bigger calibers. You go really light for caliber or really heavy for caliber. So
I've read it from 190 grain to 500 grain. So that's it's like that's a swing for you, baby.
That's a jump.
Yeah, did you notice in their warning that they will not ship the magazine to Massachusetts, Jersey, New York, California, Connecticut, because you can force feed an 11th round into the magazine.
Yeah, which I think is kind of weird because they said they modified it.
I guess you're stuck, Tony. I'm sorry.
That's kind of dumb because they said they modified it. So it's like, if it's modified, just go ahead and modify it to where you can't hold an 11th round.
Well, my thing is this.
Throw the guys some bricks.
They're being lazy. New Jersey has a 15-round mag limit. Why you throw the neck down there, I don't know. Just like, you're going to create your own law now. I mean, it's frustrating living here because there are a lot of gun manufacturers, even FFLs, that don't know the law, but just because they don't want to get caught up in any kind of BS, they just won't sell to people in Jersey. And it's like, shut up and take my money. Read a book, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
it might.
Great.
So at
30 rounds into New Jersey.
What's that? You broke up there.
Oh, sorry about that. I was saying that maybe since it is still technically a 30-round AR magazine, even though it's modified to work with the 458, they probably just don't want to worry about the hassle of getting accused of sending illegal magazines into the state. I don't know.
Yeah, again, it's. I don't blame people for not wanting to be caught in the legal soup that is New Jersey. But, man, as a firearms enthusiast and firearms instructor, you know how much of a pain in the butt it is trying to get stuff here? Even like hollow point ammo. Can we send it to Jersey? Yes. Yes. We can have hollow point ammo. Don't ask
me. You can use it.
We can use it.
Carry anyways, so it's like you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Well,
so back to the anvil, some more technical specs on it. The barrel is 16 inches and it's threaded, but for a kind of a little bit more of a proprietary thread pitch, because they didn't want you to put it on like a 30 cal muzzle device on there, suppressor, muzzle breaker, flash hider, and end up putting a 45 caliber slug through a 30 caliber hole. So it's 5/8 by 32. That way you shouldn't mistakenly attach anything 30 cal to the end of it. That's 5/8 by 24.
Convenient.
Yeah, and so
I'm wondering.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with the 458, can you shoot that through a 45 can?
Should be. It's the same diameter, right?
As long as it's As long as it's made to handle the pressure, I don't know if some 45 cans are only meant for pistols for 45
So like
ACP.
a 45 ACP is like, what's the actual bullet diameter of that?
That's what I'm looking up right now. I thought it was like 451.
Well, the pressure on the 458 SOCOM says 35,000 psi.
So you should be fine with a 45 ACP.
Yeah.
But check with the manufacturers before you blow up your 45 can.
Yeah, don't blame
Don't
us
just trust
if you
us.
do.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, the 45 ACP says 21,000 psi.
Really?
That's what. Hey, I never doubt Wikipedia, man.
Just,
Oh, okay. Oh, it said that on Wikipedia? Okay, never mind then.
Gotta be true then.
Yes.
I mean, you can get
Yes.
the Silencer hybrid, and then you're safe because it'll handle everything up to that size, I believe. Same thing with like 4570.
All right.
This
Bullet
also
diameter
comes
on
with
the
a single chamber muzzle brake from CMMG as well, and that looks like that magwell, that extra thickness, is kind of designed to be kind of beveled in, so it gives you a little bit more of a beveled magwell for reloading quicker. I've already seen videos on this on YouTube from like Iraq Veteran 8888, Chad and Eric going out and shooting hogs with it. It seems to be what it's kind of. I'd say the ideal market is people that have a hog problem down in Texas and southern states, and they want a heavy-hitting bullet, but in a semi-automatic platform because it's funner that way, and you can get more piggies that way. So I see that kind of being really popular down there for that goal. I mean, obviously people are going to want it for whatever purpose they choose to have it for, but if I was down in Texas and I had to pick between like a standard AR and this guy, I'd like to give this guy a shot.
All day, every day.
Yeah, buddy.
Depends who's paying for the
Why
ammo.
won't a 308 work?
It work.
It would.
But this is more funner.
Oh, okay.
More better.
More funner.
Well, it's got the, what is it? They were saying it's something like a 4570, but it's out of semi-auto.
Yeah.
Come on, it can't. I mean, 308s are cool. 308s are great, but dude, it's a 4570 out of an AR.
I mean, the highest grain you're going to get out of a 308 is to what, 200 grains, 210?
Yeah, 210.
Whereas a 300 grain, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, actually, just looking at the Wikipedia for the 458 SOCOM, they quoted a 600 grain bullet. I don't know how relevant or how available that is, but for that to even show up 600 grains, that's pretty nuts.
What's the 450 SOCOM ammo cost?
No,
I've never tried to buy it before.
I imagine it's a good bit.
Or pretty
Yeah,
it's
penny,
not as
hard to
expensive
get.
as you think. It's not as expensive as you think, but you have to order it online. Yeah, you're not gonna find it at Walmart.
They've got links on their website under the description for Corbon, Lehigh, Underwood, so you can click on those, see Corbon, that's going to be really expensive stuff. 300 grain jacketed hollow point, $44.38. I'm not sure how many come in a box.
2.
2?
I'm sure.
Hey, that makes it easy. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100.
For that Lehigh, man, I bet that caused some damage.
It's
Big
20
old-
20 rounds a box there.
Well, I'm laughing at you know how Underwood always like loads their stuff really hot. I'm like, what's a hotly loaded 458 SOCOM?
It just rips wormholes.
Yeah, it actually messes up the space-time consortium.
Consortium, nice.
Whatever.
I mean, Underwood's got some pretty interesting bullet designs for 458 SOCOM. They've got a controlled fracturing hollow point. They've got just regular Spitzer. They've got match ammo, you know, for when you shoot your match and you really want to split those lines on the targets. And then they also have extreme penetrators, which seem to be a little bit more like the, almost like the Phillips head screwdriver, where it just causes traumatic hydrostatic shock.
I'm wondering what kind of matches you're shooting with a 458.
So you're looking at about $2 a round where you can find it.
Yeah.
2 to 3. It looks like I'm looking on Ammo Seek right now, and it looks like they have some upwards of between $40 and $60 a box.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. So there's that. Awesome. Next up, we got a muzzle device that's pretty interesting. I haven't seen anything like this on the market before. I'm not quite sure if I need it in my life, being that I own some suppressors.
Of course you do.
Of course I do, right? So imagine
You always need it.
with suppressors, the way they've been evolving, obviously they first started out being direct thread, and then I'm not sure who, I don't know my modern commercial suppressor history, but somebody had the great idea of, hey, what if these quick detach to your muzzle brake? So then everyone followed suit, and that's been kind of the ongoing theme. You still get direct thread, but somebody had the idea of, what if I want my suppressor to be on my rifle and then off my rifle even faster than just a standard 51 tooth or some other kind of QD attachment, taper mount, whatever. So someone came out with a way of hinging your suppressor onto the end of your barrel, so you could shoot a suppressed round and then unhinge your suppressor and basically unhinge it 180 degrees where it's pointing back at you, and you've got your regular muzzle of your rifle exposed, and then you could just shoot a regular unsuppressed round and then put your suppressor back on. And doing that while maintaining the most important thing about attaching something to the end of your barrel, the word was just on my tongue.
Concentricity.
Yes, thank you. I knew you were going to get it for me.
There you go. I got your back, Ryan.
All right. The 50-cent words, TJ's always got them for me. So what this group did is the Stealth Engineering Group, or just SEG, they came out with the folding QD suppressor quick disconnect. So it threads onto the end of your barrel, and then you can then thread your suppressor onto the other end of it, and it's got a hinge, and so it basically hinges the suppressor away onto the side of the bore, and then you can hinge it back and use it, and it's supposed to make a nice solid kind of attachment when you have it closed and be repeatable. And that's kind of the big thing. Then it's interesting how they mechanically achieve that, because it took a lot of engineering to make sure that it doesn't the tolerances don't loosen up over time. So first of all, the price point, before I get you all you're licking your chops about, oh man, this sounds really cool. It's $350. The cool thing about it, though, is that say you have a 30 cal can and you want to use it on your 5.56, which is typically two different thread pitches. This thing can also act as a thread adapter. So the end that attaches to your barrel could be 1/2 by 28, but the other half, the other end that the suppressor attaches to, can be 5/8 by 24. And thus solving the issue and not having to get a barrel adapter or a thread adapter, because that essentially would be what it is. You just have to make sure that you don't get that backwards and try and shoot a 30 cal through a 223 hole in your suppressor.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how they go about doing that. Whenever they don't have the options listed right now, just because it's out of stock. I guess they just have it on their website just so you can see it. So none of the drop-down options actually show anything as far as finish, barrel thread size, and suppressor thread size, as well as material, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if they're going to be aluminum or steel or maybe titanium or whatever. Does it say what? Not sure it says what the available materials would be right now. But basically the way it is, it has both ends have a female thread, so you screw it onto your barrel like any other muzzle attachment. You just thread it on, and you could probably pick between 1/2 by 28 or 24, whatever it is, and whatever the 308 normal one is, they'll probably have plenty of them. But then on the other end, they'll have an adapter, kind of like a pipe nipple, where you can screw it in to be able to change that. If you, for whatever reason, want to use it on a different gun later, you can just change that piece out instead of having to buy a whole new unit. And so I think that's pretty neat that they did that instead of having it where you have to pick both and you're stuck to both.
Yeah, it's definitely highly engineered. So it's designed to have really tight tolerances and precisely locating for the on and off position, meaning that it's got some kind of detent mechanism for both the open and closed positions of this hinge.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because you don't want it swinging forward right before you make a shot and then shoot the side of your suppressor or this unit, because that would be terrible. I didn't even think about that, about it locking open until you mentioned that. That would be good.
And you might be wondering, well, why bother? Well, it's kind of similar along the lines of why would you have a folding stock? It's to shorten the overall length of the weapon when it's in like inside of a vehicle or for storage or transportation, and yet quick deployment where you don't have to like reassemble the thing and do any kind of extra hardware to get it back into full operation. So you could fold it along your barrel, and it's going to decrease its overall length. And suppressors being between 7 and 9 inches typically, that's definitely cutting down on the overall length of your rifle quite a bit. So it'll be able to fit in smaller cases, or even maybe like a bug-out bag or something like that.
Yeah, this thing's. I think it'll be pretty cool to see when it comes out the crazy things people are gonna do, because you know people are gonna go crazy with it. They're gonna put it on all kind of stuff. I'm waiting to see like a super short AR, like a 10.5 inch or so with a law folding stock and one of these on it.
The only thing you got to be careful with this is if you notice that the picture they have, the silencer is just about big enough to fit on that AR. If the fore-end was a little longer, the silencer would be rubbing up against the fore-end.
That's pretty fat
banging against
fore-end
it.
too, though. It's a really thick fore-end, the one they have on there.
Yeah, it kind of almost looks like a Yankee Hill kind of tube.
Well, it is a
But then you
quad
also-
rail.
Yeah, that does a good point though. Depending on what kind, if you're going to use this on an AR-15 and what handguard you have, it might not fold the full parallel with your barrel.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. I was looking at the other one that had like just a straight tube on it, but yeah, I see the quad rail now. Yeah, that's one thing. You're not going to be able to mount anything on that side if you have a shorter barrel, like if you have a flashlight or anything on the right side. I guess you could mount it to where it folds to the left or the right, but it shows all the ones they have are folding to the right, and it's also thicker at the bottom. Like it's, I guess, the up and down dimension, it's further down than it is up. Like it's pretty short coming off of the barrel to the top, but on the bottom it extends down a little bit. I guess that involves some of the lock work or something like that. So maybe
Right.
you might not want to do it to where it folds to the left because it might obstruct your view. But it doesn't look that thick. I'm not sure. Guess we'll see when it comes out what people do to it. Because like I said, people like doing weird stuff, and they'll definitely think of something crazy to do.
Yep. So there's
Yeah.
no kind of mechanical locking or unlocking as far as needing a tool or pressing a button. It's just pushing the suppressor with your hand, giving enough force to overcome those detents.
Really?
So I imagine you'll see a lot of guys have it folded and then just kind of snap the rifle and have it snap out all tactical and high speed like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens? What happens when
What
they do
happens when that detent gets worn down?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
I think it's designed to kind of wear, as it wears, it gets better. That's what I've seen a lot with these kind of mechanisms, is that they're engineered to only become a better fit with wear, because you've got that metal on metal friction.
Why is there a push button on it? It looks like there's a push button to release it.
Maybe there
think
is.
Looking at the second picture.
I think maybe from folded, you don't need to press a button to unfold it, but you do to fold it.
Right, because
that'd be kind of weird. You don't want the pressure of a round to unfold the thing, so that's why you wouldn't want to rely on a detent for that, because there is a
Especially when
big
you're
old
talking about
latch
the
on the
blowback from the
inside.
silencer.
Yeah, you can see on the open images, you can see a pretty big latch right there.
Yeah, and
One
a couple
thing
of
I
the closed
do-
images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of neat to look at, it looks like they have kind of like a taper mount where whenever you attach it, it's got like a tapered on the muzzle half, I guess. It has this tapered extrusion, and then on the suppressor half, it looks like a mating surface in there, so that probably helps keep everything concentric too.
Hey, Rob.
So it looks like they really, really thought about it.
Rob, you have suppressors too, right?
Oh yeah.
So tell me this, both of you guys with
Mhm.
suppressors, is this a $350 problem?
No. Hell no.
Well,
No.
I mean, if you
never
have
mind.
something from Silencer Co., AAC, even Griffin Ornament that uses a quick detach system, no, it's not a problem. You just ratchet it on, ratchet it off, or if you've got like the M4SD or the M4SD2, it's just got that quick pull lever that attaches to their like A2 style muzzle devices. It's not a problem, but with an industry like this that's constantly trying to evolve every day, I mean, some people might think this is just the bee's knees, that they need it to be a split second of deployment and then not have to take it off and put it in a bag or put it in a holster. It's always on your gun, whether if you're using it or not. If you are letting it cool down and you just want to shoot unsuppressed, you just fold it to the side. That might be exactly what somebody, they didn't know they wanted it because it didn't exist 6 months ago, to my knowledge. But now that it exists, it might just be something that somebody wants.
Yeah, I think another consideration that they kind of hit on is that with a taper mount or something like that, you're putting the muzzle device into the suppressor, so that's got to take up some volume of the suppressor. Versus this thing, you just have a half-inch worth of thread, and that's a direct mount isn't gonna have that muzzle device inside of the suppressor to take up room. So that they kind of hit on that a little bit. I don't know how big of a difference that would make, but as we know with suppressors, the more volume, the more quieter. So, I mean...
Okay, where this would come into play is, like Brian was just saying, if you want to go from suppressed to unsuppressed, you could push a button, flip the suppressor off to the side, and then flip it back when you want to go suppressed, because that's a lot easier than me just taking the gloves out of my range bag, unscrewing the suppressor, putting it down, shooting, and then screwing it back in when I want to go suppressed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was just a question from someone that...
Yeah, no, I mean... I personally don't see myself using this. I'm guessing you could use shims or something to make it square up and true up with your rifle, so the suppressor folds off to the side correctly. But I mean, I don't know. I think it looks interesting, but sorry,
yeah.
I just don't see me using it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're not quite sure. I mean, it's cool as hell.
I'm sure people will buy it, but it's...
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing I just thought of, depends on what you're suppressing, because the folding stock thing, you got to make sure the stock folds to the other side.
Yeah. Depending on how long everything is.
Yeah, so all of a sudden it looks like origami when you pull it out of your range bag.
Oh, look, I have a crane here.
It's like snap, 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 snap.
Or no, snap, snap, crack. Oh, shoot.
Cool.
I broke it. And
So
let me tell you something. That $200 tax stamp and a year wait, not something I want to break very quickly or very often.
Yeah. So on the show notes, we got the link to the website. It does look like it's out of stock now, but just keep checking on it and see if they start to get in the full swing of things. I think right now they're just kind of hitting the media circuit and going to shows. I know there's some videos out there of people using it. In fact, they've got a YouTube link on their website at the top right. You can click on that and see what that folding action is, in real time, and that might do it for you seeing it in action. So moving on, the next thing I wanted to talk about is also suppressor related, and I mentioned the 51 tooth. That's something that AAC really liked before they switched to the 90 something tooth taper mount. But there's still a lot of people out there that use the 51 tooth muzzle devices. They have 3 of them. They have a flash hider, they have a muzzle brake, and they have a combination flash hider muzzle brake. And so you could then ratchet your suppressors onto the end of them. Well, AAC's finally came out with a blast diffuser, which that seems to be the new hotness these days, is diffusing your blast. And I'm sure Tony's going to have all sorts of things to say about what really is the need for that. I don't know how well it really does, and I'm sure it sounds better, but as far as affecting the performance, I'm going to have to let you guys weigh in on that. But if you have one of the AAC 51 tooth muzzle devices, you could get this blast out 51 tooth for $150, and it's a blast diffuser that has the 51 tooth ratchet system on there. Ratchet it over your device, and it's supposed to diffuse the blast coming out of the muzzle, reducing the concussive forces to the people around you, maybe help you make a little bit more friends at the range, if that's been an issue for you, and your muzzle brake.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think the big thing with these is not necessarily like added performance. It's just not making the dude next to you shooting on the line get mad at you.
Yeah,
Where's the fun in that?
Because with a muzzle brake, it just throws everything out to the sides, but with these, it throws it out the front. All the concussion throws it out the front, and generally people aren't going to be standing down range to be getting annoyed with it.
they got bigger
And
problems.
if they are standing down range, I think they're worried about a little more than the concussive force of the air.
Well, my thing is this, because I checked it out, and I've been thinking about getting something like that, because my rifle will make you hate me. My rifle has a brake on it that just really does not care about you, your family, your hearing, or what job you have, because you will be deaf if you stand around me. I was looking at it, and I think it's pretty cool. I was watching a bunch of different people use them. The only thing I noticed with something like this, and I didn't even realize it would happen, it increases felt recoil. I didn't think it would, but it actually, that's what everyone says. I watched Sage Dynamic with Aaron. He's a pretty cool dude, and he was showing how it actually increases that also, and also increases muzzle rise somewhat. So
Interesting.
things that I wouldn't have been aware of, but of course we had this, so I looked into it because I think it's a great idea. I don't think it'll work on my rifle with the muzzle device I have on it right now. And
No, it has to be. It
Yeah,
has
it has
to be their 51 tooth mount.
yeah, so I'm looking at how to set it up, and I'm going, yeah, no, for the 51 tooth mount plus the blast out, I'll just get another rifle. I'll just buy another upper.
Yeah, 'cause those mounts aren't cheap either. I mean, they're anywhere between $100 and $140. Okay, I just bought this thing actually while we were talking about it. So Brownells has it for $145, and Midway USA has it for $139.99. So I picked it up from Midway, and I'll let you guys know how it looks, because what I've read so far, because I've got a 5.56 suppressor coming down the line, the M4 2000, and from what I've read about the different AAC muzzle brakes, is that the flash hider is like the 3 tuning forks, and just like the tuning fork moniker I just said, it makes like a weird sound when you shoot. So what I've read is that getting the actual blackout muzzle brake, it's got the 2-chamber muzzle brake, that actually acts as like a sacrificial baffle, and it really increases the life of your suppressor as far as taking that blast instead of the baffles. So I've got that on my Tavor, but it would look a lot better on a precision, or like a bolt-action rifle, because it looks like a long-range muzzle device, not a little tactical Tavor muzzle brake. So putting the blast diffuser on that might kind of increase the aesthetic looks, and I will let you guys know if it really does increase the recoil impulse, because obviously the gases being diverted from those 2 chambers in the muzzle brake, if they're not going anywhere, they're just hitting the sides of that diffuser. Maybe there's truth to that it somehow causes an additional impulse.
Well, see, I can imagine if the gases it's basically redirecting the gases to come out the front. So I can see where that would cause it to push back. I mean, it makes sense logically.
I need a reverse diffuser to blow the gases out the back so it negates the recoil.
There you go. Do that.
Yeah.
Get a drill bit. Get a drill bit.
Huh, okay. So I just thought it was interesting. It finally is available, and most retailers do have them. So if you've got one of these and you don't like the look of it, or you want to put something over the top, you might want to give this a try. It's 2.5 inches long, it weighs 6 ounces, and it's coated in the nitride finish. So that's it for that. Now for my review that I've been looking forward to do for a couple weeks now, and let's see, we're at just under 45, so there's enough time for me to gush over this beautiful little pocket pistol. This is the SIG P938. It's the big brother to the SIG P238, which is the 380 version. This is the 9mm version. I love this pistol so much. I picked it up while I was working at a very large gun retailer. I got to handle it every day. It comes in a lot of different colors and aesthetic combinations. But after trying this out and feeling it in my hand on a daily basis, showing customers it, and then looking at other guns in the same market, the same category, so you got your Glock 43, you got your Springfield XDS, you can see you got some Walthers that are also kind of in that category of really small single stack 9mm. I chose the SIG because I haven't owned a SIG yet, and I kind of wanted to see what the big deal was. That was a mistake. Now I love SIGs. But the overall length I found was a little bit shorter than the Glock 43. I wanted it to really be a inside the pocket carry. So if I'm wearing just regular shorts, I can have it in a pocket holster. Looks just like this, and very easy to carry and conceal that way. If it's in the fall or the autumn, a little bit colder, and I'm wearing a jacket or a vest, this fits very nicely into the pocket. Very easy to draw. Obviously, pocket holsters, they've got this wing on here that catches on the inside of your pocket so it doesn't come out with your gun when you draw. It shoots so nice for its size. You would think any pistol this size, especially being a larger caliber than .380, that this would be snappy and unpleasant to shoot. And I've let a couple of people shoot it that had that kind of prejudice that going into it, and after they've shot it, they've go, oh, well, that's actually really nice. It's not that aggressive. It's not really that snappy. It just seems, a little bit smoother than what you'd expect. It definitely defies expectation if you've shot other 9mm, that are polymer frame. The Smith & Wesson Shield, I failed to mention that in my little lineup there. So I was kind of comparing all 3 or 4 of these pistols in a row while I was working there, and I still landed on the SIG, even though it was the most expensive, which definitely was something to consider. But the SIG I chose because it's basically a little 1911. If you've got a 1911 or you've shot a 1911 or carried a 1911, you might be familiar with the aesthetics of it, the controls, and you might generally like it. If you don't like 1911s, I don't see you liking this pistol at all. Select the 1911. It has a thumb safety. This is ambidextrous on the Scorpions and the other P938s, sorry, got that mixed up there. So whether you're lefty or righty, you can still actuate that thumb safety. It is a single action only, so you've got your hammer right here. It is clear. I'm not stupid. Save my first rodeo. So you've got a hammer, and that's generally how it shoots. You rack the slide chamber around. You've got the hammer that's back in the back position, and then you fire. If you have the hammer in the back position and you activate the thumb safety, you can see the hammer move down slightly, and that's it, the mechanism taking that spring tension off of it a little bit so that it's safe to carry in your pocket. A lot of people are skeptical about carrying a gun with a hammer in your pocket. Something about Murphy's Law, and oh man, that hammer's locked back, it wants to go forward. It's going to put a round in your leg, sever your femoral artery. It's going to be a bad day. I've carried this thing in my pocket since I got it, almost every day, and I haven't shot myself in the leg yet. My other leg, that's a different story. but no gunshot wounds, I promise.
No,
so
just ATV injury.
Just ATV injuries, no big deal. So as long as you're comfortable with carrying it this way, you're all good. But you could carry it in other ways too. If you really were uncomfortable carrying it with the hammer back and the safety on, for whatever reason, you could carry it without a round in the chamber. So just carry it with the magazine full of rounds. There is 2 different magazines. This is the 7+1, so this holds 7 plus 1 in the chamber. And there is one with a flush bottom that holds 6 plus 1 in the chamber, so 7 total. I really shoot better with these 7+1 magazines because they have this little black plastic finger ledge on here where my pinky can sit, and I always shoot better when my pinky has a home to go home to. So the Scorpion and some other SIG P938s come with that extended magazine, but some don't. Some come with just this little flush guide right here. But you can get this extended magazine. I call it extended, but it's just 1 extra round. You can get this fairly easily, just aftermarket. Go into the magazine section, look for either the big box, the SIG box, or the little bag. Make sure it's not the 380 version, though. Really look for that 938 designation. It doesn't have it anywhere on the magazine itself, except for the bottom where it says 9mm. If it says 380, you got the wrong mag. Typically about $45 to $50. I just picked this one up a couple days ago for $40, which was a really good deal. That's about as cheap as you can get them if you're not an FFL or ordering wholesale. There are a number of accessories that are available for this. Obviously, I've got a Crimson Trace laser on mine. This is the laser guard. That's completely not necessary. It's actually my first laser on a pistol in a long time, and I kind of wanted to get it for the excuse of doing another review in the future, and then also just, I don't know, having the laser. So let me show you what comes in the box.
Because lasers are cool.
Because lasers are freaking lasers, man. If I can mount it to the head of a shark, that's an Austin Powers reference.
Wait,
No, it
you
was a
gotta
shark.
do the
It
air
was,
quotes whenever you say laser. You gotta do the air quotes.
it was a sea bass.
Laser.
Laser.
The laser.
Laser.
So the SIG provides a hard case.
Oh yeah.
It's got two latches on the outside. You just pull to open them. Inside the box, you have obviously all your paperwork. Comes with the extra magazine. Now the holster comes with it. Now I've seen two different holsters come with this thing. This one is an outside the waistband, little minimalist, molded plastic holster. I have never used it. I leave it in the box. It's not a bad holster if you just wanted to use it at the range. This will work just fine. I've also seen a holster that had like a paracord attached to it, and it did not have this outside the waistband little clip on there. And that's kind of designed to loop around your belt, and then you can put it in your pocket or shove it in your breeches, and then when you draw, the string that's attached to your belt will catch, and then it'll separate the holster from the gun. Mine didn't come with that. I've seen some older used ones that did come with that, so I'm not sure whether STIG discontinued that line of holsters. Some people think that it's a neck holster, like you put around your neck, but that would have the muzzle pointing straight up at your face. So
Perfect.
don't use it that way.
Idea.
Perfect.
No, it's not.
That's
It's
what you
a
call a
terrible
suicide
idea.
holster.
Yeah. Anything else in the box? Just you've got your standard gun lock. They do give you a little orange plastic chamber flag. But that's about it for the box. Back to the gun. The breakdown of the SIG 938 P938 is very simple. It's even simpler than a 1911 because obviously it doesn't have a barrel bushing at the front. So all you have to do is obviously drop the magazine, make sure it's clear. So what I like to do is there's on the right side of the gun, there's a little like ball detent that's actually the end of the pin that's attached to the slide release. So I like to push on that with my right index finger, my primary shooting hand's index finger, while I rack the slide back to a certain point where I'll feel it catch, and then I'll stop. And it actually locks it open because my other finger pushed the pin out far enough. Now I can go in from the other side of my fingernail and just pull the slide stop right out. Got it right here in my hands. Put that down, let the slide go forward. You don't need to pull the trigger or anything like that, like a Glock. It just comes straight off. So then you've got your spring and your recoil rod. There's a lot of spring tension under this, so you definitely want to make sure you're not pointing it at your eye when you kind of take the rod off of the barrel, because I have had this thing shoot across the room once before. So here's the spring, and here's the recoil.
A good tip for that I've heard is to take it apart inside of like a Walmart bag or a Ziploc bag or something like that.
There you go. That makes sense.
That way if it goes flying, you don't lose it.
Yeah, you can
or catch it in the eye.
Yeah, a retention bag. We should just patent that and market it right now. So here's the recoil spring. Then you can just take the barrel out. It doesn't have a barrel linkage per se like a 1911 does. It's all one piece. There's not any kind of hinged linkage. But there's your barrel. That's as simple as that. So very simple to assembly, easy to clean. The Scorpions come Cerakoted. They call this color flat dark earth. And I'm a little bit particular on, because I'm a graphic designer, if it's not the same color across the board, which it never is, it just drives me up the wall.
It's not Magpul FDE.
Magpul.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
Magpul
dark-
FDU, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So I bet the Scar 17 of Flat Dark Earth drives you nuts. That multi-cam pattern.
everything in flat dark earth drives me nuts, honestly.
Especially
And-
the Scar because it's 6 different colors.
Yeah.
Well, the Magpul, that's kind of like their proprietary color, so you can't expect everyone to match it. And, like, there's not like a gold set standard. I think Pantone just needs to come out with a tactical swatch booklet and have, okay, this is the swatch for Flat Dark Earth. If you miss it, then don't call it Flat Dark Earth. Anyway, that's rant over about that. So it is a little darker than Magpul's FDE, and it doesn't have as much green as Magpul's FDE, but it looks pretty sexy. I mean, here's just it does come with G10 grips, the Scorpion does. And all the Cerakoting and the grips, these are kind of specifically for the Scorpion. It's kind of got the desert look. There are other models, a lot of different models. So there's the Rosewood, the Blackwood, the Extreme, the Equinox, the Nightmare, the let's see what else.
Welcome to
Nitron, the Edge. They've got some really. If you're a girl and you're interested, or I'm not discriminating, male or female. If you're looking for a pistol that's purple, or perhaps iridescent, they have you covered. The Edge has an iridescent slide, kind of changes color as you move the slide around, how the light bounces off the finish. They also have bright purple, shiny chrome versions too. I forget the names of those. They've got white versions with some purple. They've got the Hogue grip, on the Hogue overmold grip, or the G10 grip, or the Rosewood wooden grip. They've got all sorts of combinations out there.
Do they offer the Bel Air variant?
No, they do not offer the Bel Air. Get out of here.
That's Kimball, man.
Did they put a glitter paint job on it?
No. One thing that I have seen actually recently, when I was in the last gun store I was in, they had the Army version, which I haven't seen on their website. And no, it's not like the SIG that's used in the Army. They basically paint the frame green, the slide is still black, and then it's got an overmold black Hogue grip on it. But it's that green frame that I guess makes it Army. And I've seen that twice in the wild so far. I think it was $640 cash.
Oh, it looks like it's a Tallow exclusive. Maybe that's why you haven't seen too much of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So if you've got a specific flavor that you want, then SIG probably has an offering for that for you. So I'm just kind of stalling as I'm trying to get the recoil spring and the guide rod back on there, because it's not easy to do, especially when you're trying to host a podcast.
Well, I can tell you, my aunt has one of those, and I took the opportunity to shoot it. It is a nice shooting gun. The only problem I had with that was the regular flush mount magazine. I couldn't get a good grip on it. I had to use the extended magazine to get a grip on it.
Yeah, that's why I prefer them, honestly. I mean, I don't even really use the flush 6+1 magazine.
Now, can you order an extender for that 6+1 to make it a 7+1, or is it just a totally different magazine?
I believe it's a totally different magazine.
That's not good. Okay, but no, it's a really nice shooting gun. And like I said, she carries it with her loaded, cocked and locked every day in her purse.
Oh, you know something else cool about these? Because one of my students had one and we shot it. With the safety on, you can still rack the slide.
Yeah,
that's good.
So, I mean, it's like a lot of people, including me when I first started carrying it, every time the safety came off the 1911, you get nervous. Until you get used to it, until you put time in with it. So with this, you put the safety on, rack the slide, stays on safe.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got the recoil spring back on there. that spring is really long, so it makes it a little bit extraneous. So reassembly, perfect time to show you that on the camera. So just reverse the process. You can see that there's a little latch right there, and this is very important to pay attention to when you're reassembling, because if you just try and hulk this thing on there, you can bend this latch and screw up your firearm. So you kind of got to go slow when you're reassembling. Obviously, when you get the slide on the rails and you're sliding it back, when it gets to the point of this catch, you just want to push it down with your finger and guide the slide over it, and that's all you need to do, just to make sure that you don't catch it and then rip it back. So then you can watch the holes, just like a real 1911, watch this slide release hole, watch for that pseudo barrel linkage to line up with the hole, and then you just take the slide release, put it in through the left side all the way through, just like so. Note to self, never do a disassembly on the air. And then you can just rack it all the way back until it falls into the spot, and then bam, you're done. Just like that. So yeah, like Tony said, I can put the safety on and still rack the slide back. So if you did have a round loaded in the chamber and you wanted to make it safe, you could drop the magazine, leave the safety on, and still rack the slide back. Because like you said, you can drop the magazine. You know, it's a small frame. You got to put your hand around it. Maybe your hand might overlap the muzzle a little bit, depending on where you grab it. It's kind of a nice peace of mind knowing the safety's on. It's not infallible, but at least it's on, while you could rack the slide and then eject that chambered round.
One thing I'd like to do is thanks for this. Thanks for doing the review, and thanks for doing the breakdown. But I think a lot of people put way too much emphasis on how quickly you can disassemble and reassemble your firearm for cleaning. I'm like, what's the big deal? As long as it doesn't take forever.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't care about speed. I care about ease. I care about not having to get tools out.
Exactly.
If it's as hard as like a Ruger Mark III, I just don't clean the thing. You know.
Well,
I don't
sure I do.
I don't
I just
have
want
an
to patch
hour
through the
to do
bore
it.
and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. So all in all,
wherever I can spritz out with the brake clean, that's how it gets cleaned.
yeah, pretty much. So actually shooting it, for me it seems to be a 6 o'clock hold as far as where you're aiming at. Aim a little low, and you'll hit right at where you want in the center. If you aim right at the center, you might find the rounds going to an inch or two high. That's not uncommon for smaller, shorter barrel guns. Just to me, I like that it's not polymer. I've got enough polymer guns in my collection. I like that it's all metal. I just like everything about it. I like the night sights that it comes with. That was a big thing for me because I always put night sights on my self-defense guns, and the fact that they did so for me just kind of saves me money in the long run, which, being how much this thing costs out the gate, get out of the box, any money savings you can get is appreciated. If you own Glocks, chances are that the price tag is just not a consequence to you, because they generally do cost more than their other counterparts, especially when you're talking a metal frame gun compared to a polymer frame gun. There's some production costs there that's a big difference. It's like apples to oranges. But all in all, I'm a big fan of it. So let me go through the key points here. So the claim to fame is, with the introduction of the P938, 6 Hour now offers the ballistic advantage of a 9mm cartridge in a platform similar in size to the best-selling P238 pistol. So they are very, very close in size, those two pistols. With I guess the 938 is just a hair larger in some dimensions. When it's up to me, I'd prefer to have the 9mm. Just because the availability of the ammo and the different offerings for it. 380 is getting really good these days as far as the same ammo offerings, same bullet type, same manufacturer. But I wanted a 9mm just because I don't own any 380s, and I don't plan on collecting 380 into my stock though. So the target market is concealed carry or home defense. You can use this in the home. Obviously, something that's got a double stack magazine or a larger capacity is going to be better suited in the home. But if you want to store this in like a purse or inside the waistband holster, where it's really slim and doesn't weigh down your belt, and it's almost like it disappears as soon as you put it inside the holster, or like I do in the pocket, this is exactly what that market is for, or what it's for the market. The features and benefits: obviously the caliber is 9x19 9mm Luger, Parabellum, whichever you like to call it. There is a 22 long rifle variant, as well as a 9mm 222 conversion kits. So if you like the gun so much that you want to shoot 22 out of it, that's also available. The capacity, like I said before, 6+1 or 7+1 with the extended magazine here. Barrel length is 3 inches. For the Scorpion, there is a threaded barrel version also available. The thing about that is the threads on the barrel, there's not really a shoulder on the barrel for like a larger suppressor, so you might have to get some kind of bushing to fit in between there to provide a taller shoulder or a larger shoulder. The overall length is just shy of 6 inches, 5.9. The height is just shy of 4 inches, 3.9. The width is 1.1 inch. The weight with an unloaded magazine is only 16 ounces. Like I said, it does come with the night sights. They're called the Sig Light night sights. The grips are Hogue overmold, and the trigger is single action only with a pull of about 7.5 to 8.5 pounds. It's not like a target trigger by any means, but with good trigger discipline, it shoots very well. And it does include some sort of holster. I can't guarantee you which of those two holsters you would get in the box that you get, depending on if it's used or new. So aesthetic options and finishes, I kind of touched on that earlier. There is a whole rainbow of aesthetic finishes and colors available, so make sure you find the one you like. Where others are saying, what's up?
I was going to say including rainbow.
Including rainbow, yes. So I found two very nice. The thing is, this pistol's been so popular in the last 5 years that there's a lot of good reviews out there and good content already. I'm just kind of adding to the heap. So I got two nice little snippets from reviews. I got one from The Truth About Guns, and they said overall the 6-hour P938 is more pleasant to shoot than you'd likely expect. I'm sure it would be even better with an extended mag that allows all 5 fingers to join in on the fun. It's super light, feels like a real gun, reliable, and is one of the easiest to conceal 9mm available. The cost of entry is on the high side, but the quality is commensurate. Well, I really think the P938 is worth it is when you're used to shooting a hammer-fired pistol with a manual safety, especially and particularly in 1911. If you compete with a 1911, target shoot with one, carry one when your attire affords it, etc., etc., then the P938 is a no-brainer. Same manual of arms in a carry piece or backup gun as your primary or as what you're most used to and trained on, yes please. And the other review was from the Well-Armed Woman, so it's really nice, especially with it being a smaller pistol, is getting a woman's opinion on it. Says, this gun fits my hand great for a compact. I am pretty tall and have long fingers. The grip on this gun is a little wider than other compacts, so it's easier for me to feel comfortable with my grip. Also, with the extended mag that comes with the pistol, I don't have that awkward hanging pinky. The handle is more square than, say, a Glock, which has an oval-shaped handle. So for me, it is easier to keep a good grip, especially in hot weather. This comes standard with SIG sights, which are night glow raised sights. I have poor vision and have no difficulty aligning the sights in my dark hallway with no contact lenses in. The sight corners are rounded to prevent it from snagging on clothing during draw. It also has an underside rail. What? No, it doesn't. That might be an error. I didn't read that when I pasted that in there. Let's see, let me get caught back up here.
Or maybe it's a different SIG.
Maybe. As with all SIGs, the slide is really easy to rack back. It almost feels like it's on a ball-bearing track compared to other pistols I own. From this compact 9mm to my 45 1911, I have no trouble racking 6-hour pistols, and I don't feel fatigued from racking them when shooting for long periods of time. The off-the-shelf trigger weight is pretty light. I can't recall the weight offhand, but it is lighter than that of other pistols I have. I like a light trigger, so I was pleased that I didn't have to adjust or upgrade this one. The pistol has very light recoil, I suppose, because the pistol itself is a bit heavier than other models its size. I do like the weight. I feel it helps me recover to a target better after each shot. Keep in mind, though, grip and stance play a huge part in managing recoil. So that was from the Well-Armed Woman. So price point, and I'm actually pretty well versed on the price point on this guy. So MSRP is $893. I bought this one. When I bought this one, the sticker price on it at this retailer, I'm not going to say their name for conflict of interest, but we'll just say it rhymes with Schmabellas. That was $799.99, so $800. The other this is specifically the P938 Scorpion. When you're talking about just a black one with the rosewood grips, that's typically about $50 to $100 cheaper in the in price. So the Scorpion is kind of a premium because of the cost of the Cerakote and the G10 grips. Retail-wise, like I said, the sticker was $800. I'm not saying I got it for that. I've seen it as low as $630, and that was used at another Schmabellas in a different state. So that was the used price without any kind of discounts applied or anything like that. So I need it now availability. Check your local SIG dealer. Chances are, if if you've got a gun shop that carries small 9mm and carries SIGs, they're going to have some kind of P938. Whether or not it's the color that you want is another different story. So my rating, I gave it a 9.0. I love this little thing so much. I carry with it everywhere I go. If the weather is cold enough to where I have enough of a coat on and I'm carrying a larger pistol like a Glock 19, this is my backup. You know, if I feel like strapping down 2 heaters at once, this is usually my backup in my pocket, whereas my 19 would be in a holster. So my 9.0 rating, the pros, the recoil is pleasant for a small frame and small barrel. The night sights come right out of the box and have a very good sight picture. The ambidextrous thumb safeties is a really nice feature. The Cerakote makes for easy cleaning. It's easy to tell if you've got some carbon fouling on the inside because it's black against a FDE finish. And also, I guess you can say it applies a superior hardness as far as you drop it on the ground, you know, where it might scratch off other finishes. Cerakote has a really nice, robust hardness to it. And the easy takedown is a big deal to me because I clean my guns pretty regularly. I don't like to let them sit in the safe dirty. Cons, no ambidextrous mag release. So you can see the mag release is on the left side, not on the right. You cannot alter them by switching it around if you are a lefty. So that's kind of a bummer there. They got the ambidextrous right only half with the safety. The beaver tail in the back, part of this frame right here, is kind of small and it doesn't protect shooters if they have large fatty hands. Now, I'm not saying my hands are large and or fatty, but if you grab the pistol in a hurry and you don't get in the right spot where you like grab the grip and then move up to where the beaver tail stops, if you just grab it willy-nilly, you can see that I've got quite a bit of skin overlapping this beaver tail. The hammer is going to come back and might just bite you if you've got enough skin over there. Not a big deal. If they made the beaver tail bigger, it would add to the overall length, kind of reduce or negate the point of having a small holster or a small frame pistol that you could fit inside a pocket holster. So I understand why it's not bigger because it kind of looked disproportionate, but just something to notice. And also just kind of splitting hairs here, but the gap in the ejection port on the right side of the barrel, it's got like a nice little gap there. So if it was raining or you drop this in the mud, you know, most pistols have a good lockup to where there's no large gaps for debris to get inside the action, whereas the SIG P938, it looks like some mud could get in there and get right to the recoil spring and start to affect your cycling performance. So I kind of wish that that was a little bit more plugged up. But honestly, like I said, that's just splitting hairs. This isn't like a end-of-the-world surviving mud holes kind of pistol. This is a in-your-pocket when you're, you know, walking around the park or, you know, you're at the office kind of EDC pistol.
You know, the bad thing about that you say is it's not, you know, it's not gonna be a crawl through the mud type gun, but it is gonna be in your pocket where lint exists, and lint tends to find its way places. So that is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, you know, I feel like they could have remedied that in the design process a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. I haven't had a lot of lint collect in there. I don't have extenuously linty pockets, I guess. So it kind of depends on the user, I would say. Hey, you guys got any more questions about this?
No.
We're all good?
Like I said earlier, I've shot my own 938, and it's a really fun shooting gun. It's a really nice shooting gun.
Yeah. Like I said, that price is high. I mean, when you compare it to like a Shield, what's that, like $450, $500?
Yeah.
Similar to a Glock 43. Yeah.
Yep.
A Glock 43 you might get for like $480, $500. Yeah. SIGs carry the higher price, but the quality, I feel that it was worth it.
Well, that's why they name them all start with a 2, because their SIG's too much. It just costs too much.
So for me, I wanted something that was gonna carry. I was gonna carry in my pocket, and then hopefully never, but that day comes where I do have to use this pistol to protect my life or the life of my loved ones. I want it to A, work, B, shoot really good, 3, still work. Like, really emphasis on that working part. And although all of them in the category, they have been thousands and thousands of rounds down the tubes, and everyone's reviewed them, and it depends on them for their life. I felt like I really wanted to. I felt like I owed it to myself to buy a little bit more expensive pistol if it meant that it was going to be comfortable enough and convenient enough to carry it all the time, and that's exactly what this does for me. I can fit it in my pocket. I can fit it in my cell phone pocket, the breast pocket of some vests. Fits in there just fine, doesn't print at all. So that's kind of why I justified it to me, was that, hey, this is going to be the best, smallest profile package than all those other pistols, and it's just not another polymer gun in my collection. So win-win.
Yep.
Come on, you wanted the SIG.
Yeah, now I want a 226, but I still love the Glock 19, and I think that's going to remain my primary.
Let me tell you something. As somebody who shot the 226 Legion, save the extra dough, get the 226 Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember I said it was
probably.
Yeah, the Legion's worth it. The Legion's worth it only because it has all the other things done to it that you'd want done to your SIG anyway. It has the short reset trigger. It has the I forgot the name of the guy who does the trigger job.
Gray gun.
It has that. Yeah, Gray Gun's trigger job. It has a high undercut. It has the stippling. It has the night sights already. I mean, it pretty much has everything you want. And then when you finally get that in a regular SIG 226, you're like, well, I can add another $150 and have a Legion. You know what I mean? And then that just comes out to, if you're going to sell it one day, it still has that much more value. And it's still that much better of a gun, I felt, when I was shooting it.
Well, not only that, but you don't have to worry about somebody coming after you saying, oh, you messed around with this gun from the manufacturer specification. Nope, I bought it that way from the manufacturer.
Yeah. If they came out with a P938 Legion, I think I would probably lose my mind, and I'd get that too. So I think I can say that I've got a little bit of SIG fanboy in me now.
Okay, Ryan, you have to have a mind before you can lose it, okay?
Oh, he's got a mind. It's just 90% Magpul.
Yeah. Magpul makes 1911 grips, so it's just a matter of time before they come out with the 938 grips.
938 grips, yeah.
Ryan.
So now he's 90% Magpul, 10% SIG.
I suppose you could take an old PMag, like a Generation 2, and just cut the grip panel design into it, and you could make it yourself. In fact, I might just do that.
Oh, you know what now? You know what happened now? You know what you just did, right?
What?
TJ?
What's that?
Oh, you know SIG makes 1911s, and now Magpul makes 1911 grips. Guess what somebody's getting soon? A SIG 1911 in flat dark earth with Magpul grips.
You can just get the full-size Scorpion and then change the grips out.
There you go.
Bam.
Bam.
Bam. All right, so that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough, but because of the price tag, get it in your hands, find someone who has one, either the 9mm or the 380, and shoot it before you buy it, because it is a large investment. So there you go. As far as feedback this week, I didn't see nothing on the iTunes. I don't think I checked the website to see if anyone left any comments on these show notes or reviews, but do that, because it's awesome and I appreciate it, and it makes me feel good. So now I'm going to let Tony have the floor and talk about the Second Is for Everyone diversity shoots.
Second Is for Everyone diversity shoot goes down in Woodland Park, New Jersey on August 11th at 6 p.m. We're going to have a whole bunch of fun. I got a bunch of stuff. We're going to have some flashlights from Streamlight. We're going to have some giveaways from Tetra Gun Grease. We're going to have giveaway t-shirts from Black Bag Resources. It's going to be something you want to go to. We got some cool catalogs we're giving out too. Multiple catalogs, as always, and about $20 worth of swag in your bag. All right, but truthfully, here's the big thing. Politics. It's getting real, y'all. No matter where you are, you need to join the Second Amendment advocacy group. What happens is when things happen, like happened in Dallas, like happened going on all summer long, your even pro-gun politicians somehow get pressured into doing something, and that could be infringing on your rights. So you really need to join a local Second Amendment group to find out what's happening in your state so you can get on it, write them, call them, because they do work for you. And let them know that if they don't vote right, well, I mean, They have an election. We have an election coming up in November. You will vote them out. You let them know that. Become politically active, because this is the time to do it. We can all end up Poops Creek if we all, as gun owners, sit on our butts and not do anything during this election. Get active. That's the end of my rant about you taking your Second Amendment rights seriously.
Awesome. So with that, we're going to wrap up the show. Send questions or comments to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. And check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider website, firearmsinsider.tv, for reviews and industry coverage. Pretty soon, we're going to merge those two websites, and I will not have to make that mix-up ever again. But I don't know when that's going to happen. Probably this year for sure. I just don't know when the trigger is going to get pulled on that. So thanks, guys, for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Yep.
Hey,
Have a good time. Thank you, Brian.
Yep. Everyone shoot safe. Have a good week, and I will see you on the next episode.
See you later.
See you next time, guys.
Be good.
Bye.